something that obviously it's tricky for coaches in their own areas. So it's trying to be a bit detached from the kind of the bits that they're responsible and trying to get them something that maybe seems like Warriors change position late or even then small things like a starting line change. Obviously they're just coming out of the World Cup. So there's always that like period of like 10 minutes where you're trying to figure out where they set up the way maybe you were hoping that they would be, or you know, touch that. Yeah, set up the way that we thought they were going to be. So.
And then during the week, like how much is your team of analysts and which goes into actually the day-to-day stuff?
So we've 3 with us here, myself, John Buckley and Alan Walsh, and then we've got two data guys back in Dublin that are just working on, and they've been working on the ring all the way, and they have to be all the way to the final. So that's they're nicely detached from this, and then as we progress, we lean into their work and more, take it on, and then put it into practice straight out. So we're not getting caught up in that ourselves.
Actually, I'd say what you really like now, so when you come up against, you work with Joe Schmidt, when you come up against his kind of analytical mind, it's almost like, what's that like when you come up against his kind of analytical mind?
I think the one thing in that is that they've all got analytical minds. I think maybe this was probably the one that was spoken about the most, but if you look at, say, Vaz's approach, you look at Simon UCB, the detail that they've got into with the lining, any coach who gets to this level, I think, has to have a mind that is significantly analytical, and Joe's detail is well spoken about, but what maybe doesn't get the same amount of press is the amount of thought that Vaz would pour, Paulie, Simon, Catty, Fox all into. You know, you're talking about Fox, it's like moving 6 inches left in a scrum or something like that, and I think that's where Joe's going to be the reputation built around it. But anything that he would have come up with, or that he would have kind of led in Irish rugby, obviously the remnants are still there, and we've all benefited from that. In the same way that somebody like Felix leaves the Irish system and goes to Africa, so that's just a natural way it goes. And when a coach leaves, they take stuff with them and they leave stuff behind.
Kind of from your previous World Cup experience, are you as kind as you've ever been to finally get into that World Cup semi-final?
Yeah, I suppose is the short answer. We talk about, and people have talked about what we've done over the last number of years, and I suppose the level of performance that we've been able to achieve, and the big wins and things like that. So is the short answer. It gives us massive belief in terms of the ability we have in the squad and what we can do. On the other side, there's enough of us in the room that have been through these quarterfinals and know how tough they are to win, and it all comes down to on the day. So we've done good things over the past few years. There's probably a bit more built up behind us in terms of what we've done. This is we feel in a good space in terms of what we can deliver. Like when he was saying, you don't really know what's going to come with the All Blacks. You have an idea, but with Joe and people like that behind the scenes, we've got to be ready for things that we might not expect. So I suppose we're in a good place. It's as good as a position as we've ever been in. But saying that we don't know what it's going to be.
Hi guys, Conor, just one for you. I was asking the players about the Irish fans and the influence that they're having, and other nations are now speaking about the fans and saying, it's incredible to see them and the effect they're having. For you, is this the best experience of Irish fans that you've ever felt?
Yeah, and so I was chatting to Scotland's Chris Harris after the game, and he was saying, your fans are they're a thing now. People are talking about them, and they certainly are. We stay outside Paris a little bit, and getting the bus into the stadium on match day is spine-tingling. A lot of us have been around a while and have played in big stadiums and big occasions, but this is definitely another level. The songs they're starting to sing, they're trying to take it over. To get to that stage at the end of the game with a win is certainly a little part of the motivation to hear that again. Give those fans who got deep into their pockets to keep turning up week in, week out. They deserve something special, and they definitely give us a lift. It nearly feels yeah, it's a Limerick man. It's haven't been to a few hurling games. It's one we get behind. Bundy thinks they're singing Bundy. They're definitely not.
Conor, you've obviously played with Johnny for a very long time. He seems to be really enjoying the sort of football pitch. He's getting kind of engaged with the crowd a lot and kind of soak up the atmosphere. Can you just tell us a little bit what it can be like behind the scenes and sort of different benefit compared to the season before?
Absolute nightmare. Yeah, you're right. I think, I suppose, firstly, Johnny's playing unbelievable rugby. I think that's, any player when they're playing well, they tend to be in better moods around the place. And, Johnny, obviously an unbelievable leader of the team, but expects really high standards of himself. And I think he's, whatever age he is, he's playing some of the best rugby of his life. And he kind of reflects the mood in the camp. Like, I don't know how many times I've said it in media, how enjoyable it is in the environment that we've created with Faz and everyone down from there has created. So he's just another player that's loving life at the moment. And since Faz said, it's right now that this is living. And, we're in an extremely privileged position. Talk about the fans coming over and they're over to support us. And it's a truly special place to be. And that's again part of the motivation to keep this thing going.
Conor, the All Blacks have spoken about being a totally different team compared to last summer. Does that work both ways? Can you give us any insight into how Ireland have evolved since you last faced them?
Yeah, I think every team tries to evolve, tries to improve game on game, year on year. And the All Blacks are no different. What happened in the summer was incredible. It was a really special tour, really special series win. But the way Vinny and all the lads have analysed it, we've seen a lot of it too. They've definitely improved. They've grown their game. They've learned from definitely that series. And if you stand still as a team in one area, you're going to get left behind. So both teams have developed. I played against the All Blacks where we've beaten them, and we played them a week later, and they're a completely different animal. So if you look at it that way, I suppose, will there be a reaction from the summer? Like people talk about that, use it as motivation. I'm sure they will be, and they'll be coming out with a point to prove. Through World Cups, they're just starting an unbelievable side. So we got to be ready for the best version of them on the weekend.
Our experience is obviously important, but there's loads of guys in even the 23s weekend who weren't there in 2019. How important have they been to driving this whole thing on? There's fearlessness maybe to that.
Yeah, I think you said fearlessness. There's something about those guys, like Mac or even like Jimmy coming in on the bench. There's no issue that there's complete confidence in Jimmy and these kind of guys. Like you said, they weren't there in 2019. That was a tough World Cup for all of us. And we had to dust ourselves off and kind of get rid of that scar tissue and move on. Whereas these guys have come in. They've come into a really good environment, and I suppose winning more often than not is something they're used to. So you would think, I'm not talking about Jimmy coming in on the bench, it's a huge game, but he's used to it. He's delivered for us in the past and in the limited number of caps he's had. So I think that for us and for me, and I'm sure the more experienced lads would agree, those lads coming into the environment, they've added a freshness and fearlessness is the word I'd use again, that drives us on to kind of chase success and expect to win.
Boys, quick question for each of you. Firstly, Conor, if you snuck into the All Black camp when you were in their team meeting, what do you think they'd be saying about this Irish team?
I don't know what you'll be saying about us. Traditionally, I suppose the All Blacks, they really focus on themselves and what they can do and the standards they hold themselves to. I suppose if you were to think about it, what we'd like is, and I would assume there's a bit of respect there now. Over the last number of years, we've had great cousins with them. When I started off in my international career playing against New Zealand, was really daunting, and it still is. But you know, did we really expect to beat them? Is questionable. Whereas now, there's definitely a bit more belief with the understanding of how good they are, how hard it is to beat them. But you know, there's definitely a respect there on both sides.
Okay. I've got the microphone taken off me. Sorry. Oh, Finny, I did get last. Okay, what's the single most important stat or piece of data playing the All Blacks?
I think there's one weird one, which is our missed tackles. And people would say that missed tackles against teams and those are so important, and it flashes on TV, but very often when you look at a missed tackle stat, it can be a very positive thing. And I think teams that defend with a lot of line speed will miss more tackles. And I think if you get off the line, which New Zealand do very well in their defence, you will miss tackles, but you'll wrap them up and soak them up on the other side of it. So I think sometimes people get hooked into a negative on a missed tackle stat, but actually a lot of the teams in the world that are missing more tackles are conceding less points. And I think that's something that's been a change, because teams are coming off the line so hard and forcing teams back inside.
Connor, what would it mean for you, the group and the nation who were momentum building behind Ireland at the moment to reach your first ever World Cup semi-final?
Yeah, we've been everything. On the outside, it's obviously a talking point that we never got there. Within the group, you know, we think this is a different team, and you know the capabilities are different. But yeah, to get to that point would be everything. This weekend is the biggest game I've ever played, and it's the same for everyone in the group. So that alone to get through that would be a huge moment, or a huge milestone. You know, breaking a quarterfinal isn't something we talk about. So we're cliche game on game, I focus on the next moment. But yeah, the opportunity, and you know, with the group we have, such a special group, it's something we're chasing, something we absolutely love to do for ourselves and for the fans that are here and at home. But, you know, I can't get away from how hard it's going to be, how difficult the task it is. But yeah, it would mean the world to all of us to get to that next stage.
Last two questions, Ollie, then Tommy.
Connor, you've got 3 Kiwis in your squad. Can you give us an idea of how that been this week and the sort of motivation they hold to hopefully knock the All Blacks out of the World Cup?
Yeah, like those 3 boys, so important to our squad, and I suppose what they did, you know, taking the chance to come over here and start their life for themselves and prove themselves, and that all 3 of them have really done so. You know, they're 3 world-class players who we're going to rely on heavily and have performed unbelievably well in this competition. Particularly Bundy, I hate saying it, but he's been playing the rugby of his life. You know, he can come across as a bit of a messer, you know, with a jolly fella, but like behind the scenes, Bundy's incredible. You know, the level of detail, I'm sure Vinny will agree, he's always on the computers and always trying to figure things out. So it's actually a smart fella, believe it or not. So yeah, it hasn't really been mentioned, you know, the New Zealand thing. You know, they're part of our Irish team now, and they're really important to us. And I'm sure, you know, there's part of them that, you know, they're a little bit extra that they want to get one over on their place of birth, but they're fully part of our Irish team now.
Just a quick one for each of you. Vinny, I always wonder what it's like in the box. And is there much shout at the door? Is it a kind of a tense place? I suppose it depends on the game, but you know, what's it like in the middle of all that and the various coaches around you?
Yeah, I think it's actually really, believe it or not, it's quite calm. The only problem is that Francis is just so noisy the last couple of weeks with Irish fans, so it's impossible to hear each other, so we're all kind of mic'd up and in one channel, because it's totally different than we've experienced before, wearing like aviation headsets to try and knock out the noise and hear the messages from the touchline. So for us, yeah, it's incredibly calm, but it's just very, very noisy. Very noisy. And Faz is unbelievably calm during the game, celebrates the wins and then just sits back down and yeah, he just gets himself reset, and I love the authenticity that is. He just loves a big moment in the game, as he was with a player, and he just fully immerses himself in a try or something that we've done, and then just sits back down beside us. He showed the last line, and it's totally casual.
Conor, just last one to you then. You're around long enough to play against the great New Zealand teams when we're world champions. Is it fair to say the All Blacks are not as good as they used to be?
No, I don't think so. I won't fall into that trap. I think I've been around long enough to know how good they are and how they get hurt after defeat or people are criticising them. I know at home in New Zealand, their media is quite heavy on them and expect high standards. So I know a lot of their players have played against a lot of their players for a long time. How good they are. There's so many world-class players with such ability. So the threat and the aura of the All Blacks is definitely still there. So that's the challenge.